studying class, part of geography. Today, shall we read about another new chapter? It is Indian natural disasters. Regarding this chapter, we are going to learn some important aspects. They are meaning of natural disasters, then the causes, effects and distribution of cyclones, floods, landslides, coastal erosion and also earthquakes in various parts of India. Yes, my dear students, what is natural disasters? The meaning of natural disaster, the natural hazards which create widespread destruction are known as natural disasters. Now we are suffering from natural disaster, we are suffering from disaster. Presently, what is the disaster, my dear students? Come on. Yes, COVID-19. Yes, COVID-19 is a pandemic disease. All the whole world suffer from this type of disaster. This is also kind of a disaster. The natural hazards which create widespread destructions are known as natural disasters. Disasters are two kinds. One kind of disaster is natural disaster, another kind of disaster is man-made disaster. Yes. Okay, what are all the natural disasters? Shall we read now? Yes, my dear students, anybody in the class, in the previous classes we studied regarding these disasters. Even we are reading in the periodicals like newspapers and television. Through we get the messages from various parts of India. Oh, there is a Kutch, Kutch is suffered by earthquakes. There only happened earthquake. Some other part we can listen volcanoes, tsunamis, landslides and avalanches. Avalanches means himapata. These are the called natural disasters. Like avalanches, yes, landslides, very good. Tsunamis, right? Earthquake, yes, very good. Volcano, very good. Yes, these are the called the natural disasters. The weather associated natural disasters. All natural disasters because due to of change of weathers like cyclones, drought, floods, epidemics, these are the major cause of the disasters. Most natural disasters are infrequent and also it is not able to predict. It's unpredictable. We cannot predict when earthquake is happening, when volcano is happening. We cannot predict it. However, a better knowledge about them, only we can reduce the extent of damage a vast country. India is a vast country and has been facing many natural disasters like already discussed. Yes, cyclones, floods, landslides. Yes,
raw materials,
coastal erosion, earthquake. Yes, cyclones. Okay, what is that cyclones? Yes, the cyclones. What is the meaning of cyclones? In a cyclone, the wind blows spirally inwards towards the center of low pressure. In cyclone, the wind blows spirally inwards and towards the center of low pressure. This disaster is associated with the atmosphere. Then the most ideal conditions for the origin and the development of tropical cyclones are high temperature, calm air, high saturated air. These conditions, the tropical cyclones can be happen. Then there are two kinds of cyclones can we read. There are tropical cyclones. One kind of cyclone is a tropical cyclone. The other type of cyclone is temperate cyclone. Yes, tropical cyclones are more common in India. Okay, what is the origin of cyclones and how it is development of tropical cyclones? Yes, in the tropical cyclones conditions, in tropical conditions result in the development of low pressure center. So development of low pressure center. Really, we are suffering a lot of from these disasters. So relative high pressure provides around the low pressure. These conditions result in the development of low pressure temperature, low pressure of center. Relative high pressure provides around the low pressure. So the winds blows spirally inwards in center of low pressure. This is cause of cyclones. Such conditions are found in only the area of tropical zone, especially over the seas and oceans. Then tropical cyclones are very destructive. Tropical cyclones are very destructive. What are the destructives or happened in tropical cyclones? During the tropical cyclones, what are we are going to suffer from the destructive? What are the destructives? The loss of life, the loss of property, disrupt power supply. Then what? Okay, what happened? Yes, destroy the crops. Yes, very good. Damage the buildings. To damage the transport system. Yes, these are all the cause of tropical destruction. And also some important destruction can be seen. Then in India, most of the tropical cyclones develop in Bay of Bengal. Bay of Bengal. Yes. Hence, the eastern coast is more prone to cyclones. The eastern coast is more prone to cyclones. It includes the coastal areas. What are the coastal areas? Most of the tropical cyclones happened in Tamil Nadu, then Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal. Only a few cyclones developed in the Arabian Sea. Tropical cyclones occur mainly in India during northeast monsoon season. Tropical cyclones occur mainly in India during the northeast monsoon season. ಈಶಾನ್ಯ ಮಾರುತಗಳ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಾಪಿಕಲ್ ಸೀಸನ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಸಂಭವಿಸುತ್ತೆ. In the October and November, the month of October and November are known as severe cyclones. Presently, we are suffering from a lot of problems by the cyclones in the North Karnataka region and some part of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh. Yes. Then few cyclones occur in the month of May and June. Then, what are the preventive measures of cyclones? How could we prevent distractions from tropical cyclones? Cyclones are a natural phenomenon. We cannot prevent them. It's very difficult. But people can pay heed to the warnings of predictions, weather forecastings. They should keep in touch with radio, television and other communicative lines. These can be predict the climate about the cyclones. Then the second one is temporary shelters should be provided during cyclones. We cannot living in the buildings and we cannot living with slope areas like hill type of areas. So, what to do? We have make a shelters should be provided during the cyclones. Temporary shelters. Cyclones. Then the third method of prevention measures of cyclone is cyclone-proof structures can be constructed. Then the fourth prevention method is mangrove forests and other deep rooted trees can be grown along the coastal line. Then one more natural disaster is floods. Flood, it refers to the inundation of land by the river water. Flood refers to the inundation of land by river water. It is a recurring disaster in India. One part of the country or the other has to face floods almost every year. Okay, let us, what are the causes of floods? Actually, there are main two causes of floods. One is the natural factor, another is the man-made factor. Yes, we can prevent by man-made factor, but not a natural factor. So, the natural factor, what are the disasters can be seen? So, every rainfall, melting of snow, then tropical cyclones, then cloud burst, then blockage of the free flow of river water, then silting river beds. Then the second type of causes of floods are man-made factors. What are the man-made factors? Let us discuss. Deforestation, very good. You, Prana. Yes, breaching of barrages, very good. Then the rapid progress of urbanization. Yes. Then faulty irrigation and agricultural practice. Then what are the effects of floods? Loss of life, dislocation of our transport system, disruption of essential services, etc. And many other like loss of property also. And many other effects can be found in the floods. Then where we can see the floods, flood prone areas. What are the flood prone areas in our India? Which are the flood prone areas of our India? The Ganga and the Brahmaputra river basins. Ganga and the Brahmaputra river basins. Then the second one is they cover a part of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal and Assam. Then the Satluj, the Beas and Ravi, Chenab river basins also can be suffered from this flood. They include Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. In peninsular India, the deltaic areas of river basins, that is, deltic regions of Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri rivers. They include Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Tamil Nadu and other states. The lower parts of Narmada and Tapi rivers, Tapi river basins, that is located in Gujarat, and also in many peninsular India, floods are occasional, but in the peninsular India, floods are occasional. They are due to sudden heavy rainfall. Then what are the measures of controlling the flood? Yes, the first one is afforestation in the catchment area, which helps in the reduction of runoff. Then the second type of measure to control the flood is the construction of dams across the rivers and storing of water in the reservoirs. Then the third type of measures is the construction of embankments for protection against inundation of the inhabited areas and agricultural land. Then fourth type of measure to control the flood is flood forecasting and early warnings. Yes, and this is essential for taking timely action to prevent loss of human life, livestock and property also. Then the one more disaster is landslides. What is a landslides? the sliding of land mass along steep slopes of hills or mountains is called landslides. The sliding of land mass along steep slope of hills or steep slope of mountains is called landslides. It involves downward sliding or falling of a mass of soil, rock and debris or combination of these under the force of gravity. Then what are all the causes of landslides? There are two causes of landslides. One is the natural forces, another is the human forces. What are the natural forces to cause of the landslides? Yes, first one is under cutting of slope as in the sea wave erosion of a sea cliff, then heavy rainfall, then earthquakes. Then the second type of causes of landslides are human forces, by human forces. One is deforestation, then railway lines, then construction of roads and construction of dams, reservoirs, idle power projects, mining, quarrying quarrying. These are the major causes of landslides. Then landslides are destructive natural disasters. The major effects of landslides are blocking of railway lines, blocking of roads, burning of human settlements and vegetation. Roads blocking is a very common problem in our India, and loss of property. These are the effects of major effects of landslides. Then let us know distribution of landslides. In India, landslides occur very often in hilly areas. In Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh and northeastern states. Then what are the preventive measures of landslides? First we do slope reduction. Then the prevention of rock falls along highways and other slopes. Then avoiding of mining and quarrying activities near the steep slope areas and where human settlement is there. And there should be massive and reforestation. Then another important disaster is coastal erosion. Yes. Sea waves strike the coasts with a great force. Sea waves strike the great force with a coast with a great force. This is coastal erosion. Sea waves strike the coasts with a great force. This constant process, this type of great force by the waves to the coasts, this constant process leads to the erosion of coasts. Hence, coastal erosion is the process of wearing away and removal of materials along the coastal line by the wave action. Okay, what are all the causes of coastal erosions? One is sea wave. The another is ocean currents. ಸಮುದ್ರದ ಅಲೆಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ocean currents, ಸಾಗರ ಪ್ರವಾಹಗಳು. Then there are some main important three causes of coastal erosions. One is the southwest monsoon winds. The southwest monsoon winds are the major causes of coastal erosion. These winds are causes intensive coastal erosion along the west coast of India, like west coast, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. These states are largely affected by the coastal erosion. Then the second type of causes of coastal erosion is tropical cyclone. These are destructive and mostly occur during the north-east monsoon season over the Bay of Bengal. They cause serious coastal erosions along the east coast of India. The affected coastal states are Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha. Then the third major cause of the coastal erosion is tsunamis. Tsunamis are large waves. It was these type of large waves generated only by the earthquakes in the sea. The coastal erosions occur due to the tsunamis in India. Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the east coast of India have been affected by the tsunamis. Then also our human interference is also one of the cause of coastal erosion. What type of human for the cause of coastal erosion? Yes, removal of sand to constructing the buildings, quarrying and construction of breakwater. Then what are all the effects of sea coastal erosions? Building can be washed away and trees can be also washed away. The roads along the coast can be damaged. The railway lines along the coast can be damaged. Coastal areas can remain flooded over a long period of time, requiring resettlement of the people. Then constructing what are the preventive method of coastal erosion? To constructing the sea walls at the coastal areas. Then constructing groins and breakwaters and restrict sand mining in coastal areas. Then restrict sea mining. Then planting of trees to stabilize the beaches and the coastal dunes. These are the some important disasters. And one more disaster is earthquake. Earthquakes. An earthquake is a violent vibration in the earth's crust. It is one of the worst natural hazards which often results in disaster. Then what are the causes of earthquakes? Let us read. The plate movements of the earth and volcanic eruption and faulting and folding and landslides, collapse of underground cave roofs and hydrostatic pressure, man-made water bodies is also cause of earthquakes. Dams is also cause of earthquakes because of due to heavy pressure on the earth. Urbanization is also cause of earthquake In India, most of the earthquakes that have occurred earlier were due to plate movement. Then what are all the effects of earthquakes? Yes. Yes. Very good. Damage and destruction of buildings. Okay. Then damage of transportations like road and railway lines. Then cracking of ground surface. Then damage of power lines. Damage of telecom lines. Damage of bridge. Damage of dams. And also damage of industries. These are all the major causes of earthquakes. What are all the effects of earthquakes? And let us already discussed. And what are the effects? Loss of human and animal lives, loss of property, destruction of forest due to fires, landslides, disturbance in groundwater level, blockage and diversion of a river course. These are the effects of earthquakes. And let us know about distribution of earthquakes. There are three major earthquakes zones in India. One is the Himalayan zone. The second is the Indo-Gangetic region. Then the third is peninsular zone. There are three major earthquake zones in our India. Yes. In the Himalayan zone, it is a zone of maximum intensity. This zone includes some states. They are Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Bihar. The earthquakes in this zone are basically due to plate tectonics. That is in Chamoli, Uttarkashi, and the second earthquake zone is the Indo-Gangetic zone. Where is the Indo-Gangetic zone can be found? It lies to the south of Himalayas. It comprises of Rajasthan, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, and plains of Punjab. This zone is called Indo-Gangetic zone, and also it is called moderate intensity. The zone of moderate intensity. Which zone is called as moderate intensity? Indo-Gangetic zone. Then the third zone is the peninsular zone. It includes the islands of Lakshadweep, the island of Andaman and Nicobar, Rann of Kutch, and peninsular India had been considered as a stable landmass. Only a few earthquakes have been occurred in the zone of mostly in recent years. Therefore, it is known as zone of minimum intensity. This peninsular zone is called as the minimum zone of minimum intensity. And which are the earthquake centers called in our India? Yes, Srinagar, Shillong in the east part, Dhalapur, Kachawar, Dubari, Bhopal. In the west side and north side is Srinagar, Kanga, Gujarat, and the west side is Gujarat, Latur. These are the earthquake centers in India. Okay, what are the measures, what are the precautionaries to take and avoid from the destruction from the earthquakes? Yes, avoid the human settlements in the earthquake prone zones. Then the second type of prevention method is what? What is the second type? Use building materials for high quality and avoid high rising buildings. Then use building materials of high quality and high rising buildings, like, and restrict the over groundwater mining, like bore wells, to avoid the bore wells, and restrict urban growth in the hilly areas with high seismic vulnerability, and avoid the construction of large dams and reservoirs. Then stop deforestation and heavy quarrying activities. So besides post-disaster measures, after the earthquakes are also essential. Yes, after the earthquakes, we have take some measures. They are food supply, rehabilitations, precautions for viral disease like pandemic diseases, and medical facilities. These are the major taken measures after the earthquakes, or after happened the earthquakes. Okay, let us ask some questions regarding this chapter. The most destructive atmosphere disaster is which one? Very good, cyclone. Good. Then another one more question. Coastal erosion is mostly caused by which action? Yes, sea waves. Yes. Okay, list the effects of landslides. Yes, what are the effects of landslides? Yes, blocking of roads. Yes, railway lines, blocking of railway lines. Yes, burning of human settlements and vegetations. Very good. Yes, loss of life and property, etc. And road blocking is a very common. Yes. Now one more question. Mention the precautionary measures to be taken to reduce the effects of earthquakes. Yes, anyone? Yes, avoid the human settlements in the earthquake prone zones. Very good. Very good. Next. Yes, earthquake resistance designs of construction of buildings should be needed. In the use buildings materials of high quality and avoid high-rise buildings, and also restrict over groundwater mining. Avoid the construction of large dams of reservoirs, and stop deforestation and heavy quarrying activities. These are the major measures to be taken to reduce the effects of earthquake. My dear students, today we are learned about natural disasters and man-made disasters. I hope you are all understand today's class. Thank you.